So I just wanted to introduce you to what you've been hearing lots about. This is the brief intervention. So I wanted just to give you a little sense of what it is, and then we're going to be going over it in detail tomorrow. But we kind of introduction, do the screening that Steve talked about this morning. We're going to how to get to know the participant, pros and cons, giving feedback, and sealing the deal. Those are the components of the brief intervention that you're going to be doing tomorrow. So let's start with kind of introducing SBIRT to participants. So you've heard a lot about how you talk with people, how you introduce things is going to certainly influence what kind of response you get. So it's really important, particularly in motivational interviewing, we pay a lot of attention to our words and our expression, kind of what tone of voice you have. I mean, it's different if you ask someone, do you drink versus do you drink? Right? You're going to get a very different response based on how you ask the question. So it's not just the words, it's how. You want to really pay attention to your tone of voice. I was in an emergency room. I was trying to get the nurses to do screening. And this nurse, this is true, she said to me, I screen people. I don't know why you're here. There's no problem. I ask people, do you smoke, do you drink, do you do drugs? And you know what? Very, very few people in that emergency room smoke, drink, or do drugs. And that's not a surprise. So just as we can pretty much assure what kind of response you're going to get by how you ask the question, right? So you really want to pay attention to that when you ask these questions. Pay attention to your tone of voice as well as the words that you're using. So one of the first things in introducing the SBIRT, the screening, the brief intervention is you want to really take a respectful stance. And one way to show that is by asking permission. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions? It changes the power balance, right? So it's not like you're the student, I'm going to ask you these questions and you got to answer them. You're asking, is it okay if I ask you a few questions? Asking permission is very respectful, and it immediately changes the tone, the atmosphere of your conversation. So you want to always ask permission. In the introduction, you want to let people know it's a universal screening. Universal screening meaning everyone, we ask everyone these questions. You're not being singled out because we think you're bad or you're doing something wrong. We ask everyone. This is part of the program that we know that we want to intervene with everyone about their use of alcohol and drugs and other drugs. And we have a script. We'll go over that. And confidentiality. So that I'm not sure how the confidentiality works in each program, but it's something that you guys, when you go back, have to think about what the limits of confidentiality are around the information that you're gathering. It might be different in each program. It might be within just the case management staff or the whole staff. I'm not sure. So we can have some discussion about that maybe afterwards, Pat, when we do the best practices, maybe talk about what you can tell people about confidentiality. But it's important for people to feel that what they're going to be telling you is privileged information and it's confidential and it's private. So that because we want to set the stage for people to be as open and forthcoming as possible. We don't think people are going to lie, but we think they may be hesitant or reticent to be forthcoming. All right. So when people tell me, when people I supervise say, "Oh, that guy he's such a liar," I always think of it. He wasn't feeling comfortable or ready to talk, and that what can you do differently to make him more comfortable and feeling more trusting to share more information about himself. So it's not just about lying. All right. So I've been having lots of conversations with a lot of Youth Build people, and particularly with Pat, and we came up with a suggested introduction, which everyone, I think, hopefully picked up. So this is how, in Pat and our discussion with Renee and lots of people, this is what we thought might lend itself to setting the stage for people to be open, to being clear about what this is all about. So again, let's see, why don't I just go through it real quickly. I want to thank people. Thank you for meeting with me today about your progress and challenges in the Youth Build program. Our meeting today will focus on how students deal with the challenges of alcohol and other drugs. Rest assured, we're talking to all students regarding this important issue. Since drinking and using drugs can impact getting a job and keeping it, it's very important that we talk with everyone in the program about this. So we really emphasize this is a universal screening program, that everyone's going to get asked these questions. We're not singling anyone out, because we think it's important for everyone to at least have the opportunity to talk about where alcohol and other drugs fit in their life. All right? This is just a suggestion, and then I think you certainly have to customize it to your program, as well as to make it feel comfortable for you, to use words that come out of your mouth easily. You don't want to be stumbling over it. The key components, you want to ask permission, you want to talk about universal screening, that we're asking everyone these questions, and that there's some confidentiality about it. Those are the key components to it. You want to understand the participant. You don't want to tell them what to do. You're not controlling them. You're not making decisions for them. But you want to understand them. You want to understand why and how they decide what they decide, their choices.